For lesson 6, we're doing what I call a central cluster kind of format, which starts with this brayering technique. So I'm brayering out the black. I'm working on a white substrate. This is 12 by 12. I'm just going to make some brayer marks in the center. And notice again, I've mentioned this in other lessons, how I'm using really short strokes with the brayer to have control over the application. And I'm just going to make some kind of shape that's interesting. There. So what I'm going for here is just a range of values. We've got dark black, we've got some in between, and we've got a very light gray. We'll get a lot more in subsequent layers. An alternate way to start this, using the same technique, is not to just go up and down and side to side. But do try to avoid the texture that's merely the mark of the brayer. Go over it and make each texture that emerges really deliberate. So that's another option. Another option you can consider is taking a piece of deli paper. I mean, you could use, I don't know, acetate or something as well. It's just to make like a print. And get the paint on your brush, paint it on the deli paper, and quickly flip it over, oops, and put it in the center. I say oops because the deli paper isn't completely impervious and some of the paint went through it onto my substrate. So that becomes my beginning. And I could do that again. Here, this time I'm going to move the paper out of the way. Get a new sheet of deli paper. And then quickly layer that over. So it's overlapping in some places. And just on this edge, it's extending beyond the original image. And if you want to, you can save these for collage papers. If that would work with the brayer, I suppose I could combine them. So what you want at this stage of the game, as you're beginning, is a black blob in the center of your piece that has a little variety of value. So once you have about, I don't know, 100 starts like this, with black somehow brayered or printed with deli paper into the middle of your paper, the next thing is veiling. Notice the short strokes that I'm using here. And the black paint has to be really dry. For me, this is sat overnight. It doesn't necessarily have to be overnight, but I'd give it a hit with a hairdryer if it hasn't sat overnight. Just because it's real easy for the white paint to pick up a little bit of the black and start making these neutral grays. Okay, so I'm veiling this here, and I can get a little range of opacity of the white. We've looked at that before. There. And then optionally, I can scratch some lines in here. So my options with this piece at this point are multiple. Patterns, lines, collage. What I'd like you to do is not repeat your elements. So I'm going to put a pattern up here. And what I mean by repeat, you could say, well, this motif is repeated, but it's going to read as a pattern. There's a little fuzzy area there. But, and these lines, I've repeated the lines, but they're reading as an element of stripes. And here I could do a little collage shape. And so, okay, I've placed this shape here. I'm paying attention to where it hits this edge and kind of goes a little bit beyond that edge. So I could put another collage piece on there. I can repeat a technique, but I don't want to repeat the element. So this is the only negative circle inside a square that's going to be on this piece in this way.